back up in the tree. As you can tell, it is Monday night, July 19, and I'm doing a little bit of velvet filming. I'm just sitting behind the house tonight, hoping I can get some cool video. I sat on my deck last night and watched a good amount of deer use this backfield right across the creek, which I do now have permission to hunt, which is really nice to have because, long story short, I almost shot a nice 10-pointer, but he was on the opposite side of the creek last fall, but I couldn't shoot him. I let him go, which sucked because he was a really nice deer, but this year if he does the same thing, he's toast. But there was a good amount of bucks up in this field right here. Got my clover plot, goes way back up into there, closer to the house. And yeah, it should just be a pretty nice night. It's kind of overcast. It's been sunny all day, but like it's sunny right now, but the clouds are pretty hazy. I don't think they're really clouds, it's just hazy, I guess, but it's a nice night. It's honestly perfect. You got a cool breeze coming off of the lake, and it was hot all day. I mean, it was like 85 degrees and sunny all day long, and honestly, it's got to be like mid 70s right now and dropping. It's pretty. I have shorts on and definitely a nice little breeze, so these deer should get on their feet moving pretty quickly here. It's about 8 o'clock right now, and the first deer I saw last night were about 8 o'clock, so I got out here about 30 minutes ago, cutting it close, but I can sneak into the spot so easily that I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, like I said, it should be a pretty fun night. Hopefully something shows up. We get some cool video, maybe some cool pictures, and yeah, just feels good to get back up in the tree. Before you know it, October's gonna be here. I'm gonna be hunting, so got to get ready. Got to get that practice in. Get that rhythm in. Getting all my gear set up, getting the camera arm and all that situated. It's a pain in the butt, so definitely good to knock the rust off and get prepared. So, but I'm gonna put this camera away because I'm sure there's deer coming out in the fields right now. If not now, they're gonna be very soon. So I'm turning this camera off, and the big one is gonna start rolling. And see if we can get some cool videos, some cool pictures, and I guess you'll see them in the next few clips. Well, I'm back in the field. I'm on the public ground tonight. I'm overlooking this nice bean field. I got some dense woods. This is where I filmed a lot of those big bucks last year. The crops are all switched around at this spot. I don't even hunt here, but a lot of the bucks that visit these fields this time of year will leave, and I know where they go, some of them at least. But I got out here, and I didn't expect the mosquitoes to be that bad. It's been so hot in the past few days. I expected to come out here and not have to deal with much of them. But right when I got set up, I was getting eaten alive. It was really bad. And my Thermacell was doing pretty good, but I wanted to make sure I had some spray too. So I had to run back, I don't know, about a half mile or so, maybe a little bit more, sprinted through the corn all the way back to my car to get my spray, and just got back out here, and mosquitoes are totally gone now, which is nice. I can actually enjoy my night in peace. But right when I got out here, there was a nice buck in the field on the opposite side, so he wasn't even paying attention. He was just feeding around, and he was actually heading right back towards the woods. It's super early right now. It's like, I don't know what time it is. It's, yeah, just 7:15. But I've been set up for probably 20 minutes or so. But it was a nice buck. I have no idea what deer it was. Like I said, I was here a lot last year, and I can't really tell what it was, but it was a nice deer. Didn't look too old or anything, but it looked like a 5x5 with some junk going on. Had a lot of mass. But it's only July 20, so a lot of these deer aren't filled out yet. Some of the big bucks definitely are, but they still have a lot of growing to do, so who knows what this deer could blow up into. It should be a pretty fun night. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy the night. Hopefully one of these big shooters from last year is back, and see if I can get some cool video. Alright, well, I'm heading in right now, and I was slowly walking up this little ditch, and I was sitting here wondering how long it was going to take me to jump a deer. And literally seconds after I was thinking that, I looked up, and a buck got out of his bed about 15 yards away. I just saw him walking over this little hill into the bean field. So I think that's where he's at. He's probably feeding like 20 yards away. But the wind is perfectly in my face, so he's not going to have any idea that I'm here. But there's also another deer I just saw cross the creek in front of me, heading towards that bean field also. So originally, I was trying to get to this big tree it's probably 80 yards away. And the goal is to still try to get there. But I gotta watch these two deer and see where they go. And I don't want to spook deer. I'm just out here filming. It's the middle of the summer. I just want to get some cool videos, some cool pictures. But I got my camera out. I'm gonna try to peek over this little hill and see if I can see that deer where he's at. It was just a small buck, but this time of year, if there's one buck, there's a dang good chance that there's multiple bucks that I just didn't see. I'm gonna quick peek up and see if I can get some cool shots, and see if I can even get to that tree tonight, or if I'm just gonna have to back out. A lot of deer on their feet already, so let's see where he's at. Well, I just went over this hill, and sure enough, he was like 20 yards away. He was slowly walking down into the beans, and then he fed out there for like 10 minutes, and then he just walked back into the woods to bed, it looks like. So, I think I'm clear. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it all the way over there. I might just set up. There's a little spot like right there. I think I might just quick go try to sit up in. My original plan was to go set up in those trees, but that buck was like right behind this little clump of grass, and then he walked out into the beans right over there, so. There's a lot of cover in here, surprisingly, but the problem is they walk up and down this ditch like crazy, and my goal isn't to spook deer out of here. I'm trying to do it without being seen. I'm pretty much done getting set up. I did not make it to the trees that I wanted to get to. I'm not sure if that's something that's really going to be able to happen, I guess, because there was a lot of deer that were in that creek right by those trees, and there's not much woods here, so it's pretty obvious that they're just sitting in these tree lines between all these crops, and that's a lot of good shade. I can almost guarantee you that. It's right along water. It's shaded all day long. It's kind of elevated, so there's a nice breeze. I'd imagine there's a few deer bedding in there. I'm not trying to bump them out, so sitting in this grass is a lot better. But there's beds all along this thick stuff. You can kind of see it's all this tall grass and just a bunch of weeds. Whatever this plant is right here, they eat a ton of it. I have a bunch of spots that are literally dedicated to hunting over these things for the early season, because so many of these big bucks that I see are just munching those things like crazy. But so clearly they're in here. Like I said, hopefully something pops out, but we're gonna have to wait and see, and see if I get some cool video. So It's gonna be a fun night. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy my second night on public land, filming for Velvet Bucks. Such a fun time of year. The buck that I saw when I walked in is coming back out of the beans. He's probably only like 80 yards away, but I'm super hidden in this location. My only problem is if he keeps heading more south, he's gonna get downwind of me. And I'm like pretty much exactly where that deer got up from his bed. So the bad thing that could happen here is if he slowly walks back over here to bed. But it looks like he's just gonna walk up the beans. He's just feeding around. But there's also another smaller buck pretty far down the field. But it's pretty early. It's only 8, and the deer are on their feet moving really well. But it should be a pretty fun night. about 9:15, and the deer definitely put on a show for me tonight. My goodness. I had that little buck out in front of me, and then I looked over to this, right along the wood edge. It's a super thick part of the woods where I expect a lot of deer to bed, but I've honestly never seen a big buck come out of it. They usually come out of straight in front of me. But I look over to just this big silhouette of a buck. So I got the camera, rolling on him. And sure enough, it's that big buck from last night. It's the same buck that I filmed here last year. It's probably the most common deer that I see at this spot, big buck wise. I mean, the little bucks are everywhere and stuff, but this is the most active big buck in this area. And he just came running over to this hayfield. He fed around in there for a long time. And then as he was doing that, I was filming him, a doe, and then that nice small buck that I first saw from, right when I got here. And then I can hear splashing behind me, maybe 10 yards. So I knew that was another deer coming up. And it was another smaller 8-pointer. I'm not even sure if he was 8 yet, but he'll probably end up being a small 8, but just a young, year and a half old. He popped out at like 15 yards. He shook off the water, and then he just fed out in front of me for like 10 minutes. At probably, I don't know, that's gotta be 15 yards maybe. And then he just slowly walked his way over to the other deer. And by that point, the big buck entered the bean field. And I was able to get some sweet video, as you can tell. But I filmed them for so long. It's gotta be like 35 plus minutes at like 40 yards of these deer just going to town on these beans. And my camera died. And right as it died, the whole group shifted and started walking closer to me. And I got some video on my phone, but that big buck probably got to like, I don't know, 35 yards or so. And as he was facing the other direction and the other deer were kind of just, heads were in the beans, I was able to grab another battery out of my backpack. And then I was able to film a little bit more of them, but that was a super cool night in the woods, my gosh. But this is probably going to wrap up my first video of the summer. I couldn't ask for a better video to start the year off. So, I'm wrapping it up. I'll see you guys in the next one.